my mom and my dad, that was one of my dad's favourite songs. And that was always playing in our house when we were there. So I'd like to obviously thank you all for coming here today. My mom, she had a very good innings. As you can see, she's basically outlived all her friends, all her generational family. So it's wonderful to have all of you here today. What I'd like to start with, I would like to ask Betty Williams, and I don't know if she could come and read a scripture for us.
In front of the book.
Oh, sorry.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk in the darkest valley, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. Amen.
So, you know, I think my mom knew and touched all of you. We all knew really, really well, got to know her pretty well. And that doesn't just include my immediate family. I think all my friends have been touched for her. And I'd also like to ask my mom to come up and say a word on behalf of us.
First. My mom first. Okay, my voice is going to boom over everyone. I'm going to make a light conversation.
Just say one thing.
Can I go last? Smart guys. Betty Williams. Okay, I got it. No. Mrs. Lusty, we call her Mrs. Lusty because if we go back to Brighton Beach, 1973, I would.
Yeah, that's right.
Howard was at Brighton Beach surfer, I was at Anstey's, and then we had a little, they pushed the school, Dennis Schroeder told us we need to become lifeguards. So off we went to Brighton and we became lifeguards, and that's when the introduction to Mrs. Lusty began. We'd follow Howard up. We noticed every lunchtime he went up the hill, and he came back and we were like scrounging food. And we said, oh, hang on, there's something wrong here, we're going to follow him home. And we went to Howard's house just at the top of the stairs at Brighton, and there was this big chow that Howard was getting every Sunday. So we sort of camped down with Mrs. Lusty, and we started eating at the beach, and then she threw us out, shouted at us, screamed at us, and that was the Mrs. Lister that we all loved and cherished. She was full of fun. She didn't take any shit from anyone. She was fantastic. When we started learning guitars, I mean, we punish you guys in our immediate circle on our music and our band voices playing guitars. But Mrs. Lister had it first when we stood at school with undropped testicles. And we used to sit and play music in his room. And she'd come through, hey, shut up, guys, get out, go to the beach. And off we used to go. So that was Mrs. Lister, and right through our lives, she was always with us. And even in the how I got married, every Thursday in Mrs. Lister, we had a bra. And Mrs. Lister was there. Betty was also at the bras a lot of the times. And she was always in everyone's lives. And when the girls came in their lives too, and she was always a tower of strength for everyone. And the lasting impression was that Melissa's wedding. Remember, it was freezing cold, and she was sitting on the wall outside, and she wouldn't go inside. And that's how stubborn she was. Mrs. Lister. I can't say anything more really. She's just a wonderful person. And it's actually, we come and we go, and her time came, and she's passed on to greener pastures, and here we are. Howard?
Thanks, Morris.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stop crying, everyone. Okay.
So my brothers have sent some messages from overseas. So I'd like to call Melissa and Alex to come up, and you can come stand and listen. This is the one from Craig. We'll do that one first. And then this is the one this is to Craig. This is 15.
This may take a while.
Just say who it's from first.
Okay. I'm going to read the first one from Uncle Craig, all the way in the UK. Hey Mom, you certainly are not the last words I will say to you. All the time I find myself thinking, what would Ma do? Never once did you steer me wrong. You fiercely defended me all your life. You sailed in the Mediterranean and dived off the yacht to get supplies at the age of 68. Your prayers and Christian values kept me safe. But most of all, we fully understood each other. There's not once in my life I thought, Ma, you are so wrong or out of order, because I knew why you said what you said. I got you maybe because we are so much the same. Today is not an end for me, it's a great continuation of where you left off. But to reach your level of ability will not be possible. I can only keep talking to you and continue to make you proud of me. No best mother in the world. Tribute from me, just enormous love and peace in knowing where you are. This is not a day for goodbye, Ma. You're still in me, so I bless you, Elizabeth Lister. For you, life was very tough at times, but in the end, you thought the journey was well worth it. To family and friends all over the world, thank you from Mum and I. Much love, Craig. Do you want me to read the next one? Yes, please. Why you got to do this to me, Gigi? It's just so long. Okay, this is from Greg in New Zealand. Firstly, I'd like to thank all of you for coming along today to show your respects for my mom and for supporting Howard and the family at this difficult time. It's at times like these when living so far away from home and your loved ones is particularly hard. I loved my mom. She had a very special place in my heart, as do all moms. Although her and I lived on different continents for a big part of my life, we always stayed in touch, and I could count on her to keep me up to date with everything going on back at home, both the good and the not so good. Towards the end, our conversations became short as her memory faded, but she never forgot those who were close to her and was always consistently proud of her family. One of my earliest memories is being chased by Mom up and down Airlie Road in Brighton Beach. She had a bottle of tomato sauce in her hand and had spontaneously decided to try and spray it over us. I loved Mom's spontaneity. which would often be seen when she'd start to dance after a glass of wine or two. My son-in-law's Sam abiding memory of Mom is her dancing at his and Ashley's wedding.
So the chop chop chop.
I'm not sure where she learned to dance, but it certainly wasn't a traditional style. Sam also remembers her teaching him how to say "futsak." These are just two examples of Mom's uniqueness. To me, she was special and one of a kind. God broke the mold after he made Mom. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank some of the special people in Mom's life. Howard, her youngest son, who took on the responsibility for Mom after Craig and I made the decision to leave South Africa. But I can only say an enormous heartfelt thank you for everything you did for Mom over the past 25 years or so. And thank you for supporting Howard and showing Mom the love you did. Special thanks to my wife Jenny, who also welcomed Mom into our homes in different parts of the world and showed her nothing but love, kindness and understanding. Lizzie, Alex, Shay and Candace, thanks for being the cool grandkids and for not getting too embarrassed when Granny would start to dance and sing like a wild thing. Thanks also for representing Ash, Tay and Jessie, who never got to spend as much time with Granny as they would have liked. If I count correctly, I think there are also 10 great-grandchildren. That's a total of 20 descendants. We often spoke about that on the phone and how proud she was of this legacy she had left in the world. Bev, you meant a lot to Mom, and thank you for everything you did for her. You all meant so much to Mom and contributed directly to her happiness and made her feel loved right to the end. Mom lived a full life. There were some tough times, but also many, many wonderful times. I'm personally taking comfort in imagining her being reconnected with all those who have gone before. May Mom find her place amongst her loved ones up there, and may they all rest in peace. We love you, Mom. I wish we could have had a chance to hold your warm hand one last time and say I love you, but that's not to be till we meet again, and I do get that chance. Love you, Mom.
Listen, page, it's my turn. Okay. So I'm going to speak a little bit off the cuff, guys, and I hope I don't get too emotional doing this. But I've made a few pointers. So I'm just going to try and go through this as quickly as possible. Some of it's quite funny. My earlier memories, obviously there's a lot of them, but some of them that stand out in Ely Road. Started my love of surfing, 1971, 72. And I really loved this thing, and earliest recollection is my mom, Christmas morning, waking up on Christmas morning, my Christmas present was a yellow surfboard with a black fin. I'll never forget it. That was my first real surfboard because I'd only been riding borrowed or broken or other type of surfboards before. And that was in Christmas of 1972. I remember Mom and Dad doing really fun things back in the day. My dad used to be at Bothners in West Street. And for all of you, I'm sure you all remember the Springbok Radio Christmas Fund. And Bothners had a little bit of a recess that was on the pavement like that, and these guys used to sit there between customers all day and getting people, donate to the Springbok Radio Christmas Fund. And then every now and again my dad would be on the radio, Bothners have donated 150 Rand, we're calling on all the other music stores to match or better that, and this went on, and these are very, very, it was such great fun times when I was a kid growing up with all of this sort of thing going on. Then there was Grandma Rhoda. She used to work at an amusement park on the beachfront. She used to sell tickets. She was in the ticket office for the go-karts, the vintage cars, and the Cave of Terror. And we used to go there without fail, my mother, at least myself and my mother, every single Saturday morning. And she'd often drop me off there, and I'd have some fun with Grandma Rhoda. And Grandma Rhoda used to give us all pocket money. I used to get £1 a week pocket money. But the interesting thing was, I got it, Gregory got it, Craig got it, my dad got it, and even my mother got it. So she'd take her £1 on a Saturday morning and come to the Ocean City, the Ocean City Bioscope, and she'd go and watch a movie and leave me with Granny. And to go and play on the cars and do all that sort of thing, and she'd come back later and pick me up and we'd go and fetch my dad because he used to work on a Saturday morning at Bottomless. These are real fun times. And then I used to play soccer. Well, we all played soccer in those days, and one of my memories as well was playing for Brighton Beach School, and our matches were on a Saturday morning as well. And Mom would take me there, and half time she'd come out every Saturday morning. She supplied the cut up oranges for the whole team. Nobody else had cut up oranges, the half time oranges. Granny would do that. That was the kind of person she was. Then it was Grey Park Road with motorbikes and music. That's way too many stories to tell there. I have very fond memories of travelling to Johannesburg because my family is ultimately from Johannesburg. And before you start your story of my 6 months old telling you the directions to Ellis Park Stadium, Sean, stop the nonsense, eh? My mother would stand behind me on this one. Oh yes. Anyway, we used to travel up there quite a lot. We used to go, get in the car. My dad would be working and we'd get in the car at 4 o'clock in the morning and off we'd go. Volvo. Still remember Volvo 144, and then we'd travel up there and we'd go and visit my gran and my aunts and go across town to Uncle Don and Auntie Daphne and Uncle Ernie on the other side of town and see our other cousins. And it was really, really a lot of fun. I remember Auntie Edith, her sister, she had this chopped off finger. And every time we'd go there as little kids, she'd stick her finger here by her nose, but because it was chopped off, you thought the tip of her finger was up by her brain, and she used to tease us with this all the time. I don't know if you guys that are streaming this can all remember this, but these were really, really fun times. And then there was a life-saving club, as Morgan fondly remembered earlier. I'm going to tell a funny story here, but it directly involves my mother, so when I get to the punchline, you'll understand. As young boys, you get up to all sorts of nonsense, and in those days, porn was not a good thing. It was a highly illegal thing. And Morgan and I at school, we were in the same class. One of the guys managed to get a porn movie, old 8mm porn movie. So now we had to organise. So we used to have life-saving training every Tuesday or Thursday, or whatever it was, every week, and we go in the afternoon after school. Someone would say, right, what we do is we go and borrow a projector, and after training, all the boys must stay behind because there were girls and everything involved in this training. And there's quite a lot of us. All the boys stay behind, the select few, and we're going to go and set this movie projector in the bar, and we're at the bar of the club, and we're going to watch this blue movie. John Murdoch was there, and anyway. So off we go. But this movie, best parts of these stories is this movie. You know, when you get to a good part in those old movies on the reel and that, you used to stop it and go backwards and forwards, and eventually you'd burn the film because of so obviously all the good parts of the porn and these things are all broken, and you have to feed this thing and start them, refeed the projector every 5 minutes, and the next minute we hear a knock on the door. So the Morgan and I stay behind. We trying to flush this movie down the toilet, and John goes to the front door and he comes back and he says, don't worry, it's only Elabote, but they're cops. He was a couple of years ahead of us at school, but he was genuinely a cop. And him and a guy from Louis from Durkee School. Anyway, they come in. No, sorry, the place is surrounded. The vice squad are here. We have to take you guys in. So off they go and they take us. Go put us in the back of those old SAP vans. I don't know if you guys remember one with a big cage on the back. Joe, do you remember those things? F-150 or whatever it was, and they stop at everybody's house to fetch their toothbrush. But we all schoolboys. I was in matric, and your parents get told now, whoa, but I lived only 300 meters from the police station. There were 8 of us, so by the time they got to my house, they'd lost interest in stopping and getting toothbrushes. They just took us straight to the cop shop. So now I think, what do I do now? So I think, can I have my phone call? Yes. So I phone home, and Greg, my brother, answers. I say, hey, but I'm in trouble here. This is what's happened. He says, hey, don't worry. This is about 6 in the evening. He says, I'll tell the lady that you just phoned to say that you're going to be late. You're stuck at life saying you're going to be later. So I said, hey, thanks for coming for me. I put the phone down. Whoo, I could still get away with this. At about 10 o'clock in the evening, in storms my mother, father in tow. Because it got to a point where he had to say, look, this is the real story. 300 meters up the road, your son's been arrested with his mates. So she comes in walking in, and this is the most important part of the story, is that she says to the policeman behind the counter, what are you doing with my son? I want to know something. Were there any girls there? And that's how she talked to the guy. We said to her, no, Mom, we sent the girls home before we started the movie. She says, good, policeman, arrest them all, lock them up. They deserve it. But that was so typical of my mother. She had very strict rules and principles, but she always wanted us to experience life. Then after she's telling them to lock us up, they then fought with the police as much as possible to get us off the hook. So that was typical of Betty Lister. You know, family been growing, inviting her daughter-in-laws into the fold. She's assisted all of us. She loved us all dearly. Anne reminded me the other day how she used to call when she wanted to speak to my mother. Betty, 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 Betty. Because my mom was always off doing something somewhere. Yeah, and she spent a good part of her life looking after my dad in his latter years. And then with looking after my children, she'd always be around my place, swimming in the pool with them, diving in her age, and she'd ride them with cookies, and she'd do sewing for them, and she'd do all those kind of things. She was a typical, really loving granny. Yeah? And then, as Morgan mentioned, coming to our house religiously every Thursday, Weber Thursday, adding spice to our parties. And John was overseas, Morgan's overseas, and I'm left at home with a bunch of girls. And Saturday night would come, and then Betty would come, and other Betty would come, and Dawn and Bev from next door, and I'd be sitting with 6 or 7 women, one of them being my mother, and then the wine would get going, and the party would get going, and then she'd be up there dancing. Remember how she used to dance, girls? Yeah, she was a loving, caring, and a very fiercely protective mom. And I think she wouldn't do for her children. So, yeah, Mom, I hope that where you are right now, that you're with the people that you love, and looking down fondly on us. We're going to miss you, but you are at peace now. Thank you very much. Yeah, is there anybody else that would like to say something about Mom? No. Okay, so yeah, I'd just like to thank you all then for coming. And yeah, we're going to go back to our place now, to my house, and have some tea and cake. So you're all invited to come and join us. I'd like to say once again, thanks so much for coming. What else? Some more music. my mates are reminding me of some stories. I used to, when my mom was when we were in Glenwood, and our office was in Glenwood, she'd come there in the afternoon and then I'd take her home. Hello family, I hope that all went off well, and I hope you enjoyed, or maybe enjoy is not the right word, but yeah, as you can see, one was very loved by a lot of people, so I hope you enjoyed the memories, and we look forward to chatting to you guys soon. Okay, au revoir, bye for now.